she's not going into, some kind of shutdown from having that kind of work today. And she was fine. And just walking around the herd today felt like, well, not today, but tonight, felt like some sort of initiation. I mean, it's one thing to go out and to visit with the horses and to spend time with them and be able to pet them. And because of how we have the pen set up, my girlfriend Anna suggested all the horses, all the burros, like everybody is able to see exactly what's taking place. And the horses that are being worked with aren't necessarily, off in isolation. Everybody's around them and everybody can support each other. The horses in the herd that are not halterable can watch. They can experience the chi that's taking place between me or George and the horses. And it's a non-threatening environment. Like, having done animal communication all these years and being a researcher on animal consciousness, it's very clear to see that these animals are far more intelligent and conscious and sentient than we give them credit for. So when I see, one of the herd members going, oh, wait a second, like, she's taking food from your hand? Maybe I can too. And, that's a big deal for a wild horse. To come over to, this is not reward-based training at all. This is just, hey, you have to eat, so could you eat out of my hand? It's more using food as a starting ground for connection sometimes, especially when you have a horse that's just like, nope, I don't really have any desire to be around humans. But as I was walking around the herd tonight and just checking in with everybody and seeing who was hanging out with who, something felt different. Something completely feels different in me. Let me first state that. The fears that I was carrying for a really long time about supporting Siri in being able to be halterable so I can get her feet done. The fear that I had of being bitten or kicked. Now, I'm not saying that still can't happen at any time, because of course it can. But going through this process, just following the chi and the energy flowing between us and just listening to her on every level, not just what is taking place, from her body language, but what is taking place that I'm feeling and experiencing that is taking place in her soul, in her essence, in her psyche. Even though, this did not feel like the victory of like, hey, let's go out and celebrate, I just put my first halter on a wild horse. It's not that. There's something, I'll do my best to describe it. There's something that feels very grounded and very peaceful in me. Having honored her wild, having her help me understand mine and what got tamed in me, and what can also be set free in me now, following the dictates of an indoctrinated, education from birth all the way up. There's something that feels much more peaceful inside of me, inside of the herd. I know it will sound weird, but I feel like they look at me differently now. They saw this process from the beginning. Today, Lucy, who's one of our infamous fence bangers because she wants food, I don't blame her. But at one point, she had actually laid down right outside the pen as I was working with Siri. I didn't even notice it, but when I looked over, I remembered back to a couple years ago when I first got here and was spending time with the horses. And I remember either Lucy or Shadow or Khaleesi or Tehote would come over and hold space for me. And I would be able to ask them, okay, I don't really know what I'm doing here with Siri or with the kids. Like, could you guide me? And they always just had such beautiful, loving, precise, and gentle guidance for me through our telepathic communications. And every time I listened to them, every time I listened to when they said, stand in this position, or now you need to move here, this is what you have to do, every single time it worked. And so I was just really, really blown away because, time can fly by really quickly. And so 3.5 years later, as I just am so immersed in being so fully present with Siri and everything else kind of fades away, I look over and there's Lucy laying down and she's just holding space for us. She's just grounding the energy and grounding the space. And I could feel nothing but gratitude. And I'm sitting on a chair, but as I look out into the herd, I see Siri standing there. And she knows I'm talking about her. She's got her ears. She just pulled her ears forward on me. And she's by herself. And I feel, again, this peace within myself and this peace within the herd. Not just because I was able to get a halter on Siri, but even all the emotions that I felt and that I've experienced over the last 3.5 years of having a wild Mustang mare who really did not want to be in a halter, and letting that go and letting the feet thing go and just trusting. And having the herd witness this level. So looking at Khaleesi and she's shaking her head, yes. Having the herd witness this level of working with chi and this level of connection and communication, building on everything that, George, the foundation that George has laid here with chi and the horses. While I still struggle with, trust me, I would not have put on a halter on this mare if I didn't have to. But I get it now. It's like there's a way to do this that is so respectful of and to the horse. And it might take longer, and it might, trust me, this was a 3.5-year process. This is not a 90-day wild animal to, haltered, saddled, all of that stuff. Quite honestly, just seeing the herd and everything, I don't believe that there's a ton of those Mustangs that don't have some sort of issue at some point. But I could be completely wrong about that, And then, as I've said from the beginning, my agenda is not to ride. My agenda is truly to understand the essence of horse and the essence of my own soul. So that those two things, while obviously seemingly different because I'm in a human body and they're in a horse body, but to be able to take my consciousness research work and understand it deeply at an essence level, the way that my Qigong practice and studies have taught me, to make as little of a ripple in their field as possible, is just amazing. I'm so grateful.